Hey everybody, so we're about to come up with this week's featured guest, Miss Lynia Love. So we have so much great content that we're gonna chop it up. Amazing actress, empowering force in the world of film. We're all about the girl power and women doing it for themselves. So we're also right in the middle of celebrating Asian American and Pan American Heritage Month. So we're featuring a playlist from some of my favorite Asian artists like Neo and Jay Sean, and so many great artists. One of my favorite tracks by Yuna, Best of Love.
It's more like, like with the podcast situation. So that's why I'm saying it's more helpful.
Get your vibe right.
Yeah, I'm in my zone.
That's right.
Yeah, he know how to do it. It's fun. I just got set.
Get it.
No, he's going where I'm going. Just by himself. 3, 2, 1. Good now,
And welcome to this week's edition of Style and Empowerment Chat with Laura and Friends, rocking one of my favorite tracks by Yuna. So we are so excited to welcome just an amazing artist, content creator, and woman, Lynia Love, independent film director, producer, actress, activist, screenwriter. You know, it's just wearing many hats and doing it so fabulously.
Don't make me blush, Laura. Don't make me blush. Don't do that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm so excited to have you on the show. So we have so many exciting things to talk about. So a film is obviously one of your passions. So can you talk to us a bit about how you started your career in film and just what you love the most about the creative process?
Well, just in general, I have always been a performer since, I was younger. I just love, I guess you want to call it showing out and just, putting on shows, whether it was in front of people or by myself, because I'm good for talking to myself and just having whole conversations with myself, because I can party with myself. I enjoy my own company. So
you can rock that dialogue.
Yes, I answer questions and everything, so I'm good to go. I'm good to go. But my love for the arts, started a long time ago. I've always had the imagination when I would watch TV, like, wow, like I wish that was my TV family. I was in there, or I wish that was like my partner, or like any type of show. I love any type of shows that I watched growing up, like that helped to fuel me wanting to do this. And I've been acting for a long time, and sometimes when people don't really consider you have made it to a certain point until you have like been like on somebody's TV or actually in the movie theater in $1 million budget movie. But at the end of the day, because I'm not good at giving myself
a long process of work.
It's a long process, and you have to pay your dues. But at the same time, when you are putting in that work as an independent filmmaker, you need to acknowledge your progress. You can give yourself the acknowledgement that I made it this far. I'm not where I was, and I made it this far, and I am proud of myself for getting to this point, and I'm mad at myself for dimming my light to make other people feel better.
Amen to that. I mean, and that's something that I'm kind of guilty of myself sometimes. I'm always the next, my list of goals, this, that, the grind, the hustle. That sometimes I have to remind myself, hey, slow down and acknowledge and celebrate yourself for what you've
Yep,
already accomplished.
definitely, definitely, definitely.
So now, can you talk to us a bit how you move, what your process was in moving from just being an actress and performer to a film producer and screenwriter?
So, as much as I love the grind of castings and auditions and self tapes, what I found that people, entities, only saw me in a certain type of box and certain type of roles. Um, and if not that, it was I wasn't good enough for certain type of roles. And I'm like, I'm not taking all of these classes and putting in all this time and getting all this coaching for someone to say to me, I can't do something. That's unacceptable. I can do anything that I want to do. And I knew that there were certain roles that I wanted to play and I wanted to portray. And how I got to this point was I got so discouraged that I have said plenty of times, I'm going to absolutely quit this thing here because this is ridiculous. And you got to have tough skin in regards to this because you will hear no 95 to 99% of the time. And that rejection is serious. But
And sometimes that no will be nice, and
yes,
sometimes it won't.
yes, yes.
And it's
Sometimes the
also
no is not right now, but maybe later on.
right. And it's also a key component of survival and growth in any realm of the entertainment industry, even fashion, music, is being able to process in a constructive way the no's,
Yep,
grow from it, not have it knock you down, but then also know these people might say no to you, but you still have to be polite and
yep,
professional
yep,
and process that no and realize there's only so many shows, so many movies, so many so many, and everybody has something that they're looking for, and maybe that's you and maybe it's not, but a part of the journey is um,
hmm
processing the no's.
yep. And don't take it personal because it's not personal. It's business. So you can't take it personal. Once you go into an audition room, you leave it all in there. You give it all you got and you leave it in there. And what I do, now I leave it in there and I walk out of the room. I'm no longer thinking about that. I'm on to the next. Like
Mhm.
that's just what it is. And just because they say no, I tell myself yes. And that's what I did with Providence, telling myself yes, because that in and of itself is me speaking, positivity and speaking that manifestation into my life that I know what I want to do. I know what I'm capable of. And I don't have to wait on anybody to give me an opportunity when I can seize that myself and I can build my own table, bring my own chairs, feed my own people, and do what I need to do. So that's how Providence came along. And I play a pretty badass detective.
Yes, so Lynia has acted and produced many films. Her latest film that we're talking about today is Providence, which has been received recognition from many film festivals.
And that's just the script. Like that's just the script before we even started filming. And once we were into filming, we submitted the script, to some film festivals and got some recognition. So obviously we are on the right track just
Yes.
with the script. And now people are ready to see it. They're ready to feel it, touch it, hear it, and enjoy it. And I can't wait to be able to give people that because I want to see the people watch it and I want to see the reactions because it's been amazing up until this point in regards to the support that we've gotten relating to from start to us getting to where we are now in our crowdfunding phases for post-production.
So now, what was your process in creating your screenplay? And I know we're going to get into the content of the film, but it has a personal tie-in, of the subject of the film. So can you speak to our listeners a bit about that?
So for me, I wanted to tackle sexual assault. And April is, of course, Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I wanted to tackle that because it was something that I dealt with when I was younger. And for me, doing Providence was another form of self-therapy for me. In the sense of I got to use something that happened to me a long time ago, and I got to use it creatively, and put it in a space to where I am in control, and I have that narrative to make. I want people to feel comfortable to share their experience and not hold it in, because I held it in for a long time before I even told anybody. And once I was able to open up, because you hold so much back, and what happens is you build up so much inside that it comes out in different ways, whether it's anger or whether you resort to some type of drugs or alcohol. And thank God that wasn't my path, but I was angry. I was so angry and I was so mad. And the crazy part about it was I was angry and mad at myself for something that it wasn't my fault, but I blamed myself for years, especially when other people, once you start telling people, and sometimes people be like, well, what did you do? And why would you put yourself in that position? I was a child. You know what I mean? So what do you mean?
And you're innocent and naive and open.
Yes. So I'm in a way better space, of course, now. But for me, this was another form of therapy for me, and I got to do it with some great people. And in regards to the script, I wanted this character to be as dark and as gritty as I could get her, because she wasn't facing her demons. And it was like, I need this in order for people to see, like, how I need you to be able to relate. You might not be able to relate to her doing drugs, but you can relate to her drinking. You might not be able to relate to her drinking, but you can relate to her being sexually assaulted and a pregnancy happening from that. You understand what I'm saying? Like you could tie in. I want to touch on different people. People have different experiences, and I try to touch on as much as I can, with this particular character, all the while making her as vulnerable as I could.
And strong at the same time.
And strong.
Well, it's just sharing so many impactful insights, and it's so true. We've talked about this many times on the show, that one of many things on this topic that angers me is when people criticize victims on their path to being survivors and telling their truth in their own way, and thinking that you're entitled to comment and editorialize on when or how they shared their story, or how they reacted, how they processed it, judging the situation that you were in. And my brain just can never comprehend that. How can you criticize somebody's pain?
It's hard with that, because people feel like they know and they don't know. And when you haven't had the experience, then you need not open your mouth to say
Exactly.
anything unless it's going to be some kind of words of encouragement. And that's it. You know what I mean? Like that's point blank period. So I just, I encourage, anyone who has been a victim of sexual assault. I mean, there are so many different organizations out there that you can reach out to if you're not seeking some form of therapy. There are many different organizations that can help you and point you in the right direction. You have RAIN, you have NSVRC. Um, it's like you're not alone, but we feel like we are
Hmm.
because nobody understands. Nobody, you have this thing inside you and you're just like, it's like, it's like your skin is on fire because you don't know how to express yourself, especially when you're a child. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're an adult and you know that it's hard, imagine when it happens and you're a child.
Hmm.
What do you do with that? So we want to encourage people to seek help, for whatever it is, but just get some help because it's out there. And that's what we try to touch on in the movie.
And the other aspect of things is that oftentimes uh, the abuser is someone close within the family.
Mm-hmm.
It's within the family circle, maybe a relative or a boyfriend of a parent, some situation like that. And the child feels not only you're dealing with the stigma of what happened, but
Right.
you're also afraid to speak up, will I be believed? Will they
Mm-hmm.
take my side over the attacker?
Right.
Will uh, there's different circumstances oftentimes that surround the dynamic of the victim and the abuser. Will we lose our home? Like all these different kinds of things that also factor in to these occurrences, to whether and how the victim will share their story. And
Right.
when we have a culture that feels it's okay to attack victims and socially shame them, how are they going to be encouraged to speak up?
Who's going to want to say anything?
Right. So it's like it continues the cycle. It empowers abusers. And
Mm-hmm.
much of what happens in those dynamics is the mental manipulation and intimidation. And
Right.
the more strong and empowered women like yourself, who are using their platform for not only healing themselves but others, is how we break this. And it's so true what you were saying about oftentimes the most empowerment and healing is creating your own lane to tell
Mm-hmm.
your story, your own business, especially in the film industry, which is filled with sexism,
Yeah.
um, and of course, uh, racism, and a lot of like decades of this backward, selfish thinking,
Yep.
and, and treating women as products or not as good as, and all those different things that we now are really using our voices now to call out and talk about. Um, so it's so important. The more female content creators we have, the more our voice is out there on the landscape.
Definitely. I completely agree. And I will say this with the process. This is the first time I've been involved in a project and I did sex scenes, which
Oh,
was, it's my first time ever, being in that position. And, you have the only way I can describe it is you have the good sex scene and then a flashback of the rape scene. So
okay.
there were two different dynamics
Mm.
that I did that. It was so funny because with the flashback rape scene, I'm all in, like I'm ready, and I'm like, let's do this, like that, because that was for me. It was cathartic for me, and everybody else was so uncomfortable with that scene, and it was like everybody had to give themselves a pep talk, and it was like, can we do this? And I'm like, yeah, we can do it. I survived through it. So if I survived through it, we're going to shoot it. And that's what we're going to do. So, it's a lot of firsts for me with this film. Even though I've been acting for so long, like I'm executive producer, I'm the lead. Like I've never been a lead in a project. I've been a co-star, but I've never been a lead. So it's a lot of firsts for me, being able to create the story and the narrative, and then bringing in my homie Damon Durrell to physically write the script and put it to paper, and to see it started to make it real once it was down. Because when I get it, my thoughts are jumbled up everywhere, but they're all down. They're all down. Me and him, long conversations. I'm talking to him. His ears have probably fallen off more than once with me talking to him about what I wanted, what my vision was, what I saw, what I wanted, and stuff like that. And he gave that to me, and then some in script form. And that really helped to solidify that this is going to happen. I don't know when, because when we did that was a long time ago. I said, this is going to happen. And it set a fire in me, because I just want to create content that is, oh man, I want it to have substance. You know what I mean? Like, I don't just want to create to be creating. I don't want to be in saturated fields. I want to do different things. I want to come from out of left field and people be like, oh, Jesus. And with this, that's what I get, because people are so used to me making them laugh and doing comedies, because I love comedy. Like, I'm a jokester. So I love making people laugh. But this, no, you get something different with this.
Now, I don't know if you heard this week, but the Hollywood Foreign Press Association finally, long overdue, has come under a lot of fire when it came to public awareness that there are no Black voting members in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, who, of course, for those who don't know, who aren't all about the movie and fashion land, this is the governing body that not only launches films on an international platform and film festivals and whatnot, but they vote and nominate who wins the Golden Globes. So many NBC pulled out from broadcasting the Golden Globes for next year, and Amazon and Warner Brothers have now pulled out of a streaming partnership with the Golden Globes. So as of right now, the 2022 Golden Globes do not have a platform for broadcasting, and they all saying that they are not going to repartner until the Golden Globes does a complete rehaul. And changes a lot of things internally. And yesterday, Tom Cruise actually announced in solidarity that he is returning all of his Golden Globes. So as a female filmmaker and an amazing Black woman and queen and content creator, can you just share some of your thoughts about that? And of course, we know a lot of change needs to happen, but the first step is everybody saying yes, this stinks. And
some things don't surprise me. Those things have been in place for a long time. With mostly white men at the helm of them for a long time. Whether it's Golden Globes, whether it's the Oscars, whether it's the Grammys, like the voting body has mostly been, older white men. And it amazes me, because what happens is you have a lot of great content out here by, a lot of great creators of color, that if it's not recognized by those platforms, people don't pay attention to it. And that's unfair, because we put in a lot of work. And just because I'm not getting some kind of Oscar or Emmy or whatever doesn't mean that my work is not good, because a lot of independent filmmakers, their work is sometimes better than what we see that's nominated. I'm just being honest. It's
Yeah.
a whole lot better, production wise and everything, acting wise and everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's a whole lot better. And that's anybody. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, we have these conversations all the time about wanting to be acknowledged by those entities. And yes, it's great. We all want awards. But it's not fair across the board. So when it's not fair across the board, what do you need to do? You need to do a complete overhaul of that system. And you need to have different people that encompass different people go to the movies. You know what I mean? Different people listen to music. Like, not just one particular group, does something and that's it. No, different people do everything, because we are a vast society of different, and we're
Yeah.
all beautiful, and we all should matter, and we all should count. You know what I mean? And the fact that it's still like this pulling and tugging is ridiculous. Like, it's completely ridiculous. At this point, I just want to create content. I want to create great content. I want to put it up where I put it up, If you support it, awesome. If you don't, cool. You want to, you don't think that I'm famous or I'm a celeb. You ain't got to, because I'm Lynia, and I'm always gonna be Lynia. And those who love me, hey, I know who loves me, and I know who supports me, and I'm okay with that. I'm good with that.
Exactly. We can't say that we're speaking to all voices and demographics and celebrating all categories of creators when we don't have a rainbow behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, it's not even nowhere near Skittles behind the scenes. It's nowhere near that behind the scenes. But that's the fight and trying to change that dynamic. And I can be hopeful and pessimistic at the same time in regards to that happen. But in between time, I'm gonna keep working.
Exactly.
I'm gonna keep working.
And, the more of us that step up to the plate and have these conversations and create this content across all channels.
Yep.
For people who want to keep their head down in the sand and pretend, hey, everything in this world is great.
No.
No.
And it's not a trend. It's not a trend. It's supposed to be something that's cemented. And I say this on my Monday night show. I'm so tired of hearing the first ... when it comes to us. I'm so tired of hearing that. We've been around for hundreds of years. I'm tired of hearing the first ...
Exactly.
Oh, the first. Well, it's 2021. What do
Can
you
we
mean the
just
first?
say film director or model or actress or radio host so and so just had this accomplishment? Do we have to diminish and qualify it by, oh, the first plus size woman to do this, the first gay man to do this, the first this, that, because then it becomes more about a gimmick than the actual quality of what the person is doing and accomplishing.
And you're trying to be politically correct so you don't get in trouble. I mean, like, look at what happened with the CMAs this year, the Country Music Awards. They had their first ever Black host, female. I forget her name, but first ever, she co-host, first Black person ever, ever. And I think this was this was the first time they had more than actually. They had, Black performers on there. It's been Black country singers for years, like dating back to Charlie Pride, and like
2 years ago, Beyonce performed on the CMA
with the Dixie Chicks, and they had a fit.
Huge. I'm like, what? This is so idiotic.
They had a fit. So right now they're being politically correct. So, all right, well, let's do this. No, make it a consistent thing. Don't just do it because you don't want people to stop your money. Because once you stop the money, that's when people have a problem, when you stop the money. And that's what the Golden Globes are going through right now. That money is getting stopped.
Right. And it shouldn't be because it's money or business. it should be because this is the right thing to do, and you
Mm-hmm.
are way behind the step. And to echo and underscore what you said earlier, the fact that it's 2021.
One.
And
We
like,
lost 2020. We lost 2020.
and yeah, and we are still having this dialogue about
Mm-hmm.
sexual orientation, inclusion, respect, and equality, racial equality, gender equality, ageism, size shaming, basically all these different ways to categorize, marginalize, and insult and tear each other down. It just blows my mind. It's 2021. When are we all going to
Mm-hmm.
get together and say we all deserve a fair shake and respect and love and a voice in this world in whatever lane we're
Yep.
talking about?
Exactly. That's what it should be. We can only do our part, Laura. That's all we can do. We can't worry about anybody else. So you and I are doing our part, and that's it. And you gotta
Exactly.
leave. That's
Now,
it.
now speaking of part, so in Providence, you're a detective.
Yes.
So that must have been fun. Who are some of your like girl cop role models that inspired you in this role?
So I am I'm a big Pam Grier fan. I said fan. I'm a big Pam Grier fan. Also Mariska Hargitay from
Yes,
Law and Order,
Olivia
Detective
Benson,
Olivia
that's
Benson,
you.
Cagney and Lacey. So when I tell you I'm old school and I'm new school and I'm in the middle, like I love awesome, strong female characters. I love them all. So it's so many that are out there, but I just knew that I could do it, and I embraced it. And on set, don't call me Lynia. My name is Savannah. My character's name is Detective Savannah Hunter. Don't call me now. When I turn back to the executive producer, then you call me Lynia. But when I'm in my mode, I'm Savannah, and that's it. And that's how it was on set, because that's how you get acclimated with your character. That's how people get acclimated. When you're on set. So, but yeah, it was those. Yeah, those were my influences with many other female cop characters that I've seen growing up and even today.
Now, for our listeners who aren't familiar with Maggie and Lacey, go to your YouTube. Okay, these are basically two powerhouse kind of like suburban moms turned detectives. They're there in their skirts and their boots and heels, kicking ass, and they'd be banging down doors and getting the bad guy and kicking and jumping and
Yes. And you wouldn't know looking at them that that's what they do. But Cagney and Lacey was my show. And like my homegirl and I, Tiffany Yancey, we're always talking about, if we're not Cagney and Lacey, we're actually Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. So if you put those two together, I think we have an awesome mosh posh of funny and cop. and we trying to figure out how we could put that together so her and I can do something along those lines, because it would be hilarious. We would be the female bad girls.
So now talk to us a bit more about the plot of Providence.
So my character, Detective Savannah Hunter, she what it is that she's going through some things. She has some demons that she never healed from. And her being a detective was kind of like jumping into that, just because when she became a cop, because of what happened to her when she was in college. And she knew that she never wanted to be that vulnerable again. And her becoming a cop gave her power, in a sense of, I kind of toe the line I kind of toe the line a little bit, with how I deal with suspects and in my life. I'm reckless. I'm reckless in my life, but I'm awesome at my job. I'm awesome at what I do. And that's why I got promoted to detective because I'm awesome, but I'm just reckless. And tapping into different vices. It's amazing how when you get into character, of course I'm not gonna sniff no real cocaine, but that B12 and that lactate powder went up in his nose so I could get the effects
The
of
baking
that.
powder.
Yeah, like I had to, there was, I was if I wasn't out here running around crazy from the B12 because it hyped me up, the lactate powder had me going to the bathroom. It was a lot going on, Laura. It was a lot going on. I was trying to figure out which one worked the best, but yeah, that was my crazy life on set, and how just bringing this character to life and her coming full circle. Going towards the end, because there is a full circle moment, because she never envisioned something that happens in the film, and it happens. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't care. She went from I don't care to I gotta care. I have to care. Someone needs for me to care. And I like the growth of the character throughout the movie. And it's like one of those things people love, like, oh my God, like she's crazy. But by the end, you be like, oh wow. Okay, I understand. I understand Savannah was a little special, but okay, I got you. I got you.
So much of a story takes shape in the editing process,
Yes.
right? Which, I used to think, oh, editing's boring and tedious, but once I actually started through this venture and different things I've done through it, kind of taught myself in a rudimentary way with apps and different things about editing and effects. And so I'm like, wow, you can take something and totally put it in one way, it can come out another way depending on what you splice together, and you have
Mm-hmm.
options and pacing, and it's really exciting. Like for me with content creating, the editing is an empowering stage as well, and it's
Right.
all really where the story comes alive and together. So as a producer, are you also editing as well, or giving notes and input through the editing process?
Lynia is not editing. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Now we give notes, but Lynia is not editing because editing is it. The most editing I'm doing, Laura, is for my self tapes, and that's it. But we have Jason Pollard is our editor, and no, I'm not doing that. He gets great notes in regards to, all right, well, fix this, adjust this, yada, yada, yada. This needs to flow like this. And from how the story first flowed, when we were able to get the rest of our scenes, I don't want to, COVID is still here, but the end of last year, we got the rest of our scenes. Once we incorporated those scenes, that changed the whole ending of the movie, changed the whole thing. And it flows, like, not that it didn't flow well in the previous cuts, but it flows so much more better now. And the pace is so much more better now, compared to what it was before. Because how it was before was that, when we did a focus group right before everything shut down. We did a focus group and the group was awesome. We did it in Newark and they gave us feedback. And based off of that feedback, that's why we wanted to shoot more scenes. So it was because my February 2020 focus group, why y'all got a new, different ending.
Well, of course, that too speaks to how many different stages there are to create, not only first creating the content to make the film, but
Mm-hmm.
filming it, then you have post production, then you have market research and
Mm-hmm.
marketing, distribution research, and then the distribution. So there's a lot that goes into the process. Again, like many things, unless you don't walk in that lane or you're not in that field, you just go to the movie and say, hey, that's a cool film, or you say what you like, what you don't like, you talk about it, afterwards, but you don't think, my God, that could sometimes be 7 years, 10 years of a journey for us to watch that 90 minutes on
Hello.
TV.
Hello. And we're an hour and I think we're at an hour and 47 minutes, and we got that down from 2 hours. So, there's so much footage. And of course, you can't use everything. It has to fit the story. So, a lot of stuff ends up on that editing cutting room floor. And, some people, even though they may have been in it then, they get cut out. And it's nothing personal. We have to have the story flow. But to touch on what you just mentioned, everything is a pre-production. You need to set yourself up first before you start doing things. We did some pre-production work before this. I did some pre-production work for our crowdfunding campaign, which is going on right now on Seed and Spark, because I had to research crowdfunding. I knew nothing about crowdfunding. You know what I mean? So I had to research crowdfunding before I even was able to launch. So I knew what I was doing. And that's a whole situation. Just like you said with distribution, once we're done and we're finished, and Lord willing, we raise the funds that we need to finish covering post-production, the next thing is the film festival circuit. After that is researching distributions and streaming services to see, how they want you to package it to present it to them to possibly be on their streaming service. That's the next step. So, you have to really research and do your work ahead of time. And a lot of people don't realize you can't skip a step. You can't skip a step. And I'm not the type of person to skip a step. I've seen it. I've seen other people do it, but that's not me, because I don't know, I guess I'm somewhat of a perfectionist and I just like things to be right. So, I've been at this campaign for, I think, 11 days now, and I'm doing technically I'm doing it myself in a sense of like the posting every day on social media. And that's a lot for me because I'm not a social media person, but I got to do it.
Exactly.
I got to do it. So if you're going to do this, you got to make sure you got a team. Yeah, listen, I'm so over being on the computer. I need a break, but even once the campaign is done, I still have to keep people posted on how we're moving along in post-production, and how we're moving along with the next phase with film festivals, and how we're doing with when we get to the distribution phase, and possibly having some kind of premiere for my cast and crew. Ultimately, that's what I want. That's when it'll feel super real to me, when I can give them the red carpet that they deserve.
Yes. Well, when you are at that stage, let's talk and connect. I'm all about that.
Yes.
And helping with the premiere and all that good stuff. So now, in addition to your movie, you also have a book,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So let's talk a bit about your book.
So let me. I want to show you something first. So when you guys want to support, come on over to Seed and Spark. Click that link. You can just donate without picking a perk, but we have some awesome perks. We have our Providence wristbands, you know what I mean, for you guys. We have our Providence face mask for you guys, Providence t-shirt, and my favorite is the Providence mug. This is my favorite one in the bunch. I'm sorry, you guys.
From the movie flyer, which is, of course, on our flyer this week.
I appreciate that. So, yeah. So, we go from movie, we go from producer and actress to Arthur, and it sounds weird to say that. Oh my God, it sounds weird. My book.
Oh, yay, fabulous.
My book. Oh man, I don't even know where to start with this, but this was birthed from the podcast I started during when we were in the middle of Corona last year, and I wanted to get back into radio and I wanted to get back into podcasting. So I started a podcast called Create Some Ish. And the podcast is just geared to motivate, encourage, and challenge people to create their own ish. Like Laura, you guys, Laura has her own ish with her show. Hello. That's her creating her own ish. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have a passion for something, do it. Don't let nothing stop. I don't care if you knit scarves for cats. It's a passion. It's a passion that you love making these scarves for these cats. I need you to do it. Like, people, we withhold our talents and we stop ourselves. So we let a job pay us $10 an hour to stop us from our $1 million dreams. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So, I started the podcast and I'm like, talking to, some people in my circle is like, you should probably write a book with it. I'm like, me write a book? Who's gonna read that? And then I thought about it. How am I telling y'all to be encouraged and challenging y'all and motivating y'all if I'm going to doubt myself? I had to get that negative thinking out of my head. I'm like, wait a minute. You know what? I'm gonna write a book. It ain't gonna be long. It ain't drawn out. Listen, y'all can read this book in a half hour, if that. And all it is just, my take on, things that could possibly help you, and my personal experiences and things that have happened and helped me along the way to change your mindset, because it starts in your mind. If you are constantly thinking negative, how in the heck can you have room for positive affirmations, for manifestations, if you're constantly thinking negative? That's not how manifestation works. And I'm big on manifestation. You know what I mean? So you might not think like I'm big, but in my head, I'm up here and I'm talking to Oprah. I'm talking to Barack and Michelle. Like, I'm all up in here. I'm talking to them. I'm having these conversations. I'm sitting and I'm having lunch with Regina King. Like, I'm enjoying myself right now in my head, because I'm manifesting that I'm gonna touch somebody. Somebody gonna get it. Not touch you where you gonna file charges against me, but I'm just saying, I'm gonna touch you. I'm gonna touch you. So the book is live. It's available. The Kindle version is available on Amazon, and the hard copy version, which a lot of people would prefer, and I'm the same way because I'm old school, is available.
I like to touch the pages and
yeah, I need to do this. I need to do this.
have to do that. Oh my God, this just happened. What's happening on the next page?
That's what I need. I need to do all of that. So yeah, the hard copy is at www.lynialove.com, and just hit the shop tab on my website and purchase you a copy. I send everything out personally in the mail.
Fabulous. And again, the name of the book is?
It's called Create Some Ish, a guide to discovering your passions and living your purpose.
Fantastic. I mean, I so agree with everything. We're like kindred spirits on all these topics, and you can't expect any kind of goal to happen unless you first can see yourself. You have to see yourself there before anyone else can, or anyone is going to buy into that reality. You might not know yet the path of how you're going to get there. But once you set these goals and say out loud, these are things I want to accomplish. The first step to anything is you have to know you are worthy of what you want to accomplish. You have to believe in yourself that it can happen, and then make a plan. And then also, no, you have to put in the work, educate yourself. Sometimes, like we've talked about today, create your own lane,
Mm-hmm.
navigate through no, have that be empowering, not spirit snuffing. Be your own best cheerleader, and believe in yourself relentlessly. Not to say that we don't have our moments of insecurity and self doubt and
Right.
discouragement. That's part of every human's journey, especially as an entrepreneur and creator. But
Mm-hmm.
you can't let that be the large part of your air.
Yep.
You have to take, my dad used to always say, take the good and leave the rest.
Yep. Yep.
Take what can make you better, uplift you, refine you. But then you got to walk to your own toot and beat.
That's right. You walk to the beat of your own drum all day, every day. And I will say this. I know that on an independent scale, it's kind of different for us, and we do things based off of a proverbial handshake and stuff like that. But this is a,
Contract.
you have to be business, you have to be business like and business minded. So of course your first project, all right, cool. You know what I mean? You ain't got no, cause you learning. You know what I mean? I get it. That was me. Moving forward, anything relating to Lynia, we needs a contract because I gotta protect my work and my name. So I need you guys to understand that protect your work, protect your name. You know what I mean? And if there's something that you don't understand, reach out to somebody. Reach out to an attorney, get a consultation. You know what I mean? So you can make sure that you are protected along your journey. I'm going through the trademarking phase of trademarking my stuff. So yeah, it's real, and I know that it costs money. I get it, but that's what you pre-plan for. All right, I
You have
need
to
X, Y, and
educate
Z.
yourself not only on the technical and the craft, but the business side
The
of show
the
business.
business. Because you can't get
Entertainment business.
yeah, some people just want to be in front of the camera. No, honey, I love being in front of the camera, but behind it, I know I'm the boss.
Mhm.
And the boss got to make moves and make decisions and stuff. And my name is
And
attached
how
to
to
it. My
suggest.
name is attached to it. So yeah, I mean, I gotta protect myself and my brand.
And I think the other important tip thing to say to creators or people who reach out is also learning proper business communication and
Mhm.
what is a professional pitch and outreach. Just take a quick 30 seconds on this. Facebook Messenger is not real business.
Oh Lord,
Facebook,
don't,
okay?
don't give me the
I
preach.
have to testify for a second. Okay, an email, proper, polite conversation with etiquette. It's an introduction, and then they may have your number, your email to reach out. I have a client that I would like to present. If you, I have an idea that I'd like to present for you to consider, and then you properly, professionally email that person media kit, content, links, whatever, with verbiage of etiquette and complete sentences, and not emojis and half thoughts and acting like you already got the yes and thinking because you sent the link to something in a Facebook Messenger that that's a real situation. No, that's just a hello, maybe I'm thinking and looking at you, but when it's time to do business or consider it, we open up our computers like professionals and
Mm-hmm.
some business correspondence, a phone call,
Mm-hmm.
and your IGDM, that's not business deals.
I said, it's funny. It's funny you say that because when I reached out to you because you popped up on the feed, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, let me reach out to Laura. And what was one of the things that I said to you? I said, Laura, let me get your email address
Ding.
so I can send you my press kit and and whatever else that I sent you, so I could send you that. You know what I mean? Like, and because we already knew each other, you know what I mean?
Right,
It wasn't like how we're talking now, but that is something that it grinds my gears because I prefer email. It's different if I'm reaching out to you for the first time and I don't have a contact for you, so that's why I'm reaching out.
right.
But after that, I want to talk by email because that's more better and that's more professional. So
If you
that's
want to be taken seriously as a professional, and this goes for any lane, but if you want to be taken seriously as a professional, a creative, and someone to consider working with you in any capacity, act and express yourself and communicate as a professional.
right. Exactly. Exactly. It's not hard. You know what I mean? Like, and just don't. And then once somebody gives you their email and their contact information, don't abuse it. Don't
Right.
abuse it. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, you keep it professional and do what you need to do and keep it moving. Like, that's the most important part. But definitely stepping out of, oh well, let me slide in the DMs and no, like, okay, the initial, because you might not know me, but after this, get out of my DMs.
Right. Yeah.
Jesus Christmas.
And I mean, or I've also seen people get on comments on a post. That's even worse.
Yeah,
They
no.
go to your Instagram or your Facebook and say, "Oh, this is awesome! Check out my artist or check out this." That's business.
Especially if that's your artist, right? Well, I'm gonna need for you to manage a little bit better and be a little bit more professional if that's your artist, because we're not doing that. That's what
No,
we're not doing. No. No, I get it. Ooh, chat. That's a whole nother. That's a whole
okay.
nother. I just whole nother
That could be a whole show itself.
whole show. Chika and I talk about that all the time. We talk about that all the time. All the time. So you got. I see now. I need a drink. Now I need a drink.
Right, exactly. I'm having my imaginary glass of wine.
Yes, now I need a drink because that's a completely We're gonna talk about that. We have to have a whole panel situation on that.
Yeah, I think part of also respecting the process, respecting the person that you hope to work with,
Yep.
is reaching out to them in a professional and respectful way, reading the emails, listening to what they're saying, and putting yourself out there in a professional way.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
Lydia, it's such a pleasure. And I just have to say, on a personal note, we have known each other for a minute, and it's so exciting when women parallel in successes and evolution and reflect back to where we were when we first met each other.
Yep.
It's just amazing. I'm so happy for you and all the things that you've been able to accomplish. And I wish you just boundless happiness and success in all your endeavors. So, as we close out, can you tell our listeners where to follow you on social media and support Providence and all your other films, your book, your podcasts, and all your great content?
Oh wow. So I am Lynia Love everywhere. Lynia, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's also my website, lynialove.com. And everything relating to the film Providence. Providence movie is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And the Seed and Spark campaign link is in all of the bios. You guys just click that link, make a pledge, follow and share. We want to hit our goal. We want to get this money so we can finish post-production. And my podcast, Create Some Ish, is on Instagram. And you can listen to the podcast on New Pod City and on Apple Podcast Network. So I'm everywhere. All you gotta do is follow me, and then you'll follow everything else. All you gotta do is follow me, and then you'll see everything else that I have going on. So, and do you mind if I shout out a couple people before I get up out of here? I need to shout out Damon, Anthony, Hirsch, Roxanne, Teddy, Chike, Lee, Maddie, Leah, Brian, and David. Those are just a few people that are on the team, whether it's the campaign team or the Providence team or just my team in general. And definitely, I got a shout out to my acting coach, Jonna Johnson. I love her dearly. And also to Karen Vicks and Carl Anthony and Mariska Phillips. They're all my acting coaches. But definitely shout out to Jonna. She is an amazing, amazing coach down in Atlanta. And I just love her dearly and I appreciate her support and I appreciate her for being a part of my village. And also shout out to Rich Hinkles of the Actors Think Tank.
And shout out to all the independent filmmakers, creators, content creators, following your own voice and dream, and putting out there the content that we need to see.
The stuff.
Yes,
the stuff, Laura, it's the stuff. As my boyfriend would say, it's the stuff. Hey, baby, it's the stuff. It's the stuff.
You can follow me on Instagram at the Laura Mazurk. Like and follow the Style and Empowerment Chat Laura and Friends Facebook page. You can catch us on London Energy Radio, Take It to the Streets Radio, Downtown Hot Radio, FM World Pakistan, The Voice, Audible, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the places where you find your podcasts and content. I celebrate you, my friend, and I wish you all the success on all your endeavors and keep shining.
Ditto.
And being a fabulous female and content creator.
Thank you so much, honey, and the same to you. Thank you so much. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.